Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract money effortlessly while others work themselves to exhaustion and barely make ends meet? What if everything you've been taught about earning money through hard physical labor is actually limiting your financial potential? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. We're about to challenge one of the most deeply ingrained beliefs in society, the idea that money must be earned through physical effort and sacrifice. This conventional wisdom has been passed down through generations, reinforced by well-meaning parents and teachers who told us to work hard if we want to succeed financially. But what if I told you that true wealth doesn't begin with your hands, but with your mind? Stay with me until the end of this journey, because the mental shift I'm about to share with you has transformed countless lives from financial struggle to abundance, and it might just be the missing piece in your own financial puzzle. Has this ever happened to you? You put in extra hours, take on more responsibilities, physically exhaust yourself, only to find that your bank account doesn't reflect all that effort. There's a reason for this disconnect, and it's not about working harder. Money, at its core, is an energy that responds more to mental patterns than physical exertion. The wealthiest individuals in our society aren't necessarily those who work the longest hours or perform the most physically demanding tasks. Rather, they're the ones who understand the relationship between thought, action, and financial flow. This mindset shift isn't about magical thinking or denying the value of work. Instead, it's about recognizing that your mental approach to money determines how it manifests in your life. When you begin to see money as something created through thought, rather than merely exchanged for physical effort, remarkable changes begin to happen. Think about the entrepreneurs who built empires starting with nothing but an idea. They didn't create wealth through manual labor alone. They understood that value creation begins in the mind, with concepts, innovations, and solutions. The exciting truth is that your relationship with money can transform when you learn to harness the power of your thoughts. Financial abundance becomes not just possible, but natural when you align your mental patterns with the actual mechanics of how money flows in our modern economy. As we continue exploring this concept, you'll discover practical ways to shift your money mindset and create new pathways for wealth to enter your life. What awaits you might challenge everything you've believed about financial success. Before we continue, subscribe now and activate notifications so you never miss a chapter. If you're committed, type "Money flows from my mind" in the comments and save this video to revisit daily. Your new financial reality starts with this decision. Let's dive deeper into what sets this audiobook apart. Napoleon Hill didn't just compile financial tips, he decoded the mental architecture behind true wealth creation. What makes Think and Grow Rich transformative is how it challenges our fundamental understanding of how prosperity actually works. When Hill says that wealth begins with a thought, he's revealing something revolutionary. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that wealth comes primarily through physical labor, grinding away at jobs we may not even enjoy. We're taught that sacrifice and hard work eventually lead to financial freedom. But what if we've been approaching this backward our entire lives? The audiobook presents a paradigm shift. The wealthy elite understand that the mind leads and the body follows. Physical labor without proper mental direction often leads to exhaustion rather than enrichment. This isn't suggesting that effort isn't required. Rather, it's about where that effort should be directed first. Consider this hidden truth. Every invention, business, and fortune began as a thought in someone's mind before it materialized in the physical world. From Thomas Edison's light bulb to Steve Jobs' iPhone, these weren't accidental creations born from mindless labor. They were precisely visualized mental blueprints that their creators held firmly in mind before bringing them into reality. This principle extends beyond just inventions. The audiobook reveals how wealthy individuals cultivate specific thought patterns that actually attract opportunity. They understand the journey begins with mental clarity, not merely physical busyness. They prioritize their psychological relationship with money before concerning themselves with the mechanics of earning it. One fascinating revelation is how the ultra-successful view failure differently. Where most see devastating setbacks, they recognize invaluable feedback. Hill discovered that many of the most accomplished people he studied had faced more failures than their less successful counterparts, but their mindset transformed these obstacles into stepping stones. The impact of this understanding cannot be overstated. When you begin to view wealth creation as a mental process first and a physical process second, everything changes. You start making decisions based on where you want to go, rather than just reacting to circumstances around you. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring what Hill calls the burning desire principle. This isn't just casual interest or wishful thinking. The audiobook explains that true wealth creation begins with an almost obsessive level of clarity and emotional investment in your objective. This burning desire becomes the engine that powers everything else. What most people don't realize is that this mental approach has a scientific basis. Modern neuroscience confirms what Hill discovered through observation, that our brains have a filtering system called the reticular activating system that brings to our attention what we focus on intensely. When you develop a burning desire for something specific, your brain literally begins scanning your environment for opportunities related to that desire that were always there but previously invisible to you. This explains why two people can encounter the exact same circumstance, yet one sees an opportunity while the other sees nothing special. Their mental programming determines what their consciousness registers. The wealthy have learned to program their minds to recognize valuable opportunities that others walk right past. The audiobook delves into fascinating case studies of people who implemented these principles from various starting points, some with education, others without, some with connections, others in complete isolation. The common thread wasn't their starting circumstances, but their willingness to embrace this mental approach to wealth creation. If any of this resonates with your own experiences or observations about wealth creation, write "mindset first, action second" in the comments. Now I want to take you through the specific methods Hill discovered for reprogramming your mind for wealth. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to attract money like a magnet, while others struggle to keep it around? The difference often lies not in their circumstances, but in their mindset. Shifting from a scarcity mentality to one of abundance represents one of the most profound transformations in your wealth journey. When you operate from scarcity, you see money as a finite resource that you must fight others to obtain. Every dollar someone else earns feels like a dollar taken away from you. This creates anxiety, desperate decision-making, and ironically pushes wealth further away. I've seen this pattern countless times. People clutching so tightly to what they have that they miss opportunities for growth. An abundance mindset, however, recognizes that the universe isn't running out of resources. Money is constantly flowing, being created, exchanged, and multiplied. When you genuinely believe there's more than enough for everyone, including yourself, your actions align with this belief. You become more generous, more strategic, and paradoxically, more magnetic to wealth. If this unlocked something in you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Comment, "I create money with my mind" to anchor it today, and share this with someone who's ready to shift from effort to intention. New chapters drop here. Don't miss the next one. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent reprogramming of deep-seated beliefs you may not even realize you hold. These hidden truths about your relationship with money often stem from childhood observations, family patterns, or early experiences with financial hardship. The path to abundance begins with awareness of these limiting beliefs. Let me share a powerful exercise that has created remarkable impact for many. Take 3 minutes each morning to close your eyes and affirm with complete conviction, "Money is created in my mind first. My thoughts about wealth determine my experience of it." Feel the resonance of this truth in your body. Visualize yourself as someone who naturally attracts abundance. This isn't magical thinking, it's a deliberate practice to rewire your neural pathways. When you truly internalize that your wealth begins with your thoughts, you reclaim your power from external circumstances. You stop being tossed about by economic news or comparing yourself to others. Instead, you recognize that the seed of every dollar you'll ever earn exists first as a possibility in your consciousness. What's fascinating about this mindset shift is how it affects your practical decisions. People with abundance mindsets tend to invest more, take calculated risks, and focus on long-term wealth building rather than short-term scarcity reactions. They see problems as opportunities and setbacks as temporary. Their fundamental relationship with money becomes one of partnership rather than fear. The journey toward financial freedom isn't just about accumulating resources. It's about liberating yourself from the emotional baggage that money carries. When you approach wealth creation from this perspective, you'll notice synchronicities appearing, opportunities emerging that you might have missed before. This isn't mystical, it's simply that your awareness expands when you're not constrained by fear. I've witnessed remarkable revelations in people who commit to this practice. One client, after just 30 days of these morning affirmations, found herself spontaneously negotiating a significant raise she wouldn't have previously believed possible. Another discovered an entrepreneurial path that had been hiding in plain sight. The common denominator wasn't luck. It was there. Willingness to challenge deeply held beliefs about money's nature. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this abundance mindset translates into specific wealth-building strategies that actually work in today's economy. The foundation we've laid here isn't just philosophical, it's the bedrock upon which practical financial decisions can flourish. If what I've shared resonates with your own experience with money, write "Abundance Activates" in the comments below. I'm curious how many of you have already begun this mindset transformation. Rich Dad, Poor Dad teaches us something revolutionary. Money doesn't have to be earned through suffering. This powerful insight challenges the core belief many of us grew up with, that financial success must come through hardship, struggle, and sacrifice. Robert Kiyosaki boldly states that this mentality is precisely what keeps most people trapped in financial mediocrity. Think about it. How many times have you heard phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "You have to work hard for every dollar"? These common sayings reflect a deeply ingrained cultural narrative that associates wealth with pain. It's a mindset that has been passed down through generations, often with good intentions, but with limiting consequences. The transformation begins when you recognize that wealth creation can actually be enjoyable. The rich don't see making money as drudgery. They view it as a creative process, a game even. This shift in perspective is what separates those who achieve financial freedom from those who remain stuck in the rat race. What's particularly fascinating is how Kiyosaki illuminates the connection between our thoughts and our financial reality. The audiobook presents a revelatory concept. Wealth is fundamentally a mental construct before it becomes a physical one. This isn't some mystical law of attraction claim. It's a practical observation about how successful people operate. Consider The journey of any self-made millionaire. They didn't just work harder than everyone else, they thought differently. They saw opportunities where others saw obstacles. They questioned assumptions that most people accept without thinking. In essence, they created a different mental model of how money works, and their actions followed naturally from that model. The hidden truth is that your mind is the most powerful financial instrument you possess. Wealthy individuals understand this. Intuitively, they use their intellectual resources to spot trends, solve problems, and create value in ways that generate income without exchanging time for money. This explains why some entrepreneurs can build fortunes seemingly from nothing, while highly educated professionals with impressive salaries sometimes struggle financially. Behind the scenes of every financial success story is a mindset that refused to accept artificial limitations. Steve Jobs didn't just work harder than his competitors. He imagined products that didn't exist and brought them into reality. Warren Buffett doesn't just analyze companies more thoroughly. He approaches investing with a philosophy that lets him see value where others miss it. The audiobook challenges us to examine our own beliefs about money. Are you operating from assumptions that limit your potential? Do you believe that financial abundance is only for certain types of people, or that you must sacrifice your health and happiness to achieve it? These beliefs aren't facts, they're stories we've internalized, often without questioning them. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how Kiyosaki suggests we can begin reprogramming these limiting beliefs. It starts with awareness, noticing when you're operating from a scarcity mindset rather than an abundance perspective. Once you identify these patterns, you can consciously choose different thoughts, which lead to different decisions, which ultimately create different results. This mental reprogramming isn't just about positive thinking. It's about developing a more accurate understanding of how wealth is actually created in the modern world. It's about recognizing that in an information-based economy, ideas and innovation are more valuable than physical labor or even credentials. If what I'm sharing resonates with your own financial journey, type mindset shift in the comments below. Now, let's explore how Kiyosaki's teachings apply specifically to building passive income streams. Your mindset doesn't just influence your financial decisions, it completely determines them. When I work with clients transitioning from scarcity to abundance, I've noticed that their transformation begins well before any tangible changes in their bank accounts. It starts with how they perceive money itself. Take a moment right now to close your eyes and say aloud, "Money flows to me easily and abundantly. I am worthy of wealth. I create value that deserves significant compensation." Feel how your body responds to these statements. For many, there's an immediate resistance, a subtle voice that whispers, "That's not true," or "Who am I kidding?" That resistance is the precise boundary between your current financial reality and your potential prosperity. The wealthy elite understand something profound that most people miss entirely. Money is created in the mind first. This is the first hidden rule that separates the financially free from those trapped in economic struggle. Before a dollar ever reaches your wallet, it must first exist as a possibility in your consciousness. Consider how billionaires approach problems. When Elon Musk faced seemingly insurmountable challenges with Tesla's production, he didn't shrink his vision to match his resources. He expanded his thinking to create new resources. When Sarah Blakely built Spanx into a billion-dollar company, she wasn't limited by her initial lack of fashion industry experience. She reimagined what shapewear could be because her mind wasn't constrained by industry conventions. The journey to wealth requires mental reconstruction before financial construction. Most financial education focuses exclusively on mechanics, investment strategies, savings rates, and debt reduction. These are merely tools. The master craftsman behind these tools is your mindset. your deep-seated beliefs about money's role in your life. I've witnessed remarkable revelations in those who embrace this. In principle, one client, Michael, spent decades working diligently but always seemed to hover at the same income level. During our work together, we uncovered a childhood memory where he overheard his father say, "People like us don't get rich." This single belief had been silently dictating his financial decisions for years, creating an invisible ceiling he couldn't break through. The hidden truth is that your current financial situation is the perfect physical manifestation of your internal money blueprint. Your income, savings, debts, and investments aren't random. They're the precise reflection of what you believe is possible and appropriate for someone like you. When you understand that wealth creation begins in the mind, you gain access to the most powerful financial tool available: conscious belief restructuring. The wealthy don't just think differently about money occasionally. They've fundamentally rewired their neural pathways around abundance. This process isn't about positive thinking in a shallow sense. It's about deliberate mental reprogramming that aligns your subconscious with prosperity. Research in neuroplasticity confirms that consistent thought patterns create physical changes in brain structure. When you repeatedly engage with abundance-focused thoughts, you're literally rebuilding your brain's architecture to support wealth creation. Now, I want to go even deeper into understanding why so many intelligent, hard-working people remain financially stuck despite their best efforts. The answer lies in understanding how the wealthy approach risk, opportunity, and value creation in ways that seem counterintuitive to those operating from conventional wisdom. If anything I've shared resonates with you so far, type "mindset shift" activated in the comments. I'm curious to see who's ready to begin this transformation with me. The reality is, most people focus exclusively on strategies and tactics, the how-to of wealth building, without addressing the foundation that determines whether those strategies will even work for them. This is what T. Harv Eker calls the internal game of money, and it's perhaps the most profound revelation in this entire audiobook. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how two people can apply the exact same financial strategy but get completely different results? One person follows a proven investment approach and thrives, while another follows the identical formula and struggles or fails entirely. What's the difference? It's not what they're doing, it's who they are being while they do it. Your outer world of money is nothing but a reflection of your inner world. Your financial life is merely a mirror showing you what's happening beneath the surface of your consciousness. This isn't some mystical concept. It's practical psychology that determines your everyday financial reality. Eker explains this brilliantly when he states that your income can grow only to the extent that you do. This is why personal development isn't separate from financial development. They're actually the same journey. Your bank account isn't just a collection of numbers. It's a reflection of your relationship with abundance, your sense of worthiness, and your beliefs about what's possible for someone like you. What makes this revelation so transformative is understanding that external actions without internal alignment create temporary results at best. It's like trying to grow a healthy garden in toxic soil. No matter how perfect your gardening techniques, the environment itself will sabotage your efforts. Your money blueprint functions the same way, creating the conditions that either support or undermine your financial growth. The journey toward wealth requires excavation work, digging into the hidden beliefs and unconscious patterns that have been controlling your financial life without your awareness. Many people rush past this crucial step, chasing strategies that can never fully work for them because their internal programming is actively working against their conscious desires. I remember when I first encountered this concept, it hit me like a revelation. All the financial advice I'd been consuming suddenly made sense in a new way. I realized I'd been absorbing information without addressing the belief systems that determined whether I could actually implement it successfully. My money mindset was creating invisible boundaries around what felt possible for me. Consider how many times you've set financial goals only to find yourself mysteriously sabotaging them or hitting an invisible ceiling. That's your money blueprint in action, the unconscious programming that determines what feels normal or safe for you financially. Going beyond that comfort zone triggers internal alarms that manifest as procrastination, fear, or self-sabotage. Ika's perspective shifts the entire conversation about wealth from external circumstances to internal programming. This isn't about blaming yourself for financial challenges. It's about claiming your power to rewrite the code that's been running in your mental background. The external world of money merely reflects back to you the sum total of your internal beliefs about wealth, success, and your worthiness to receive abundance. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how your early conditioning around money shapes your current financial reality in ways you might not even recognize. Your financial behaviors. Today, whether you're a spender or saver, risk-taker or security seeker, largely stem from messages you absorbed during your formative years, often before you were old enough to consciously evaluate them. If this perspective on the internal game of money resonates with your own experiences, write in the comments, "My blueprint needs an upgrade." I'd love to know how many of you recognize your own money patterns in what we're discussing. These wealth affirmations aren't just words, they're transformational tools that establish a new relationship with money. When I first started this practice, I noticed something fascinating happening. The consistent repetition of these statements creates neural pathways in your brain that begin to accept abundance as your natural state. It's like reprogramming your internal operating system. Think about it. Most of us have been unconsciously repeating negative money beliefs for decades. I can't afford that. Money is hard to come by. Rich. People are just lucky. These statements have been shaping your reality, whether you realized it or not. The beautiful revelation here is that you can deliberately choose new programming that serves your highest aspirations. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the mechanics of why repetition works so powerfully. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. Each time you affirm, "Wealth flows to me effortlessly," you're creating a mental blueprint that your subconscious mind begins to accept as truth. After 30 days of consistent practice, these new patterns start to override the old limiting beliefs that have been holding you back. The journey toward financial abundance isn't just about changing your thoughts, it's about shifting your entire energetic signature. This is where vibration comes into play, and it's arguably the most profound hidden truth behind successful manifestation. Everything in our universe operates at specific frequencies, including your thoughts and emotions about money. When you consistently focus on lack, struggle, or financial worry, you're broadcasting a very specific frequency that attracts more of the same circumstances. It's like tuning your internal radio to the scarcity station. But here's the revelation that changed everything for me. You can deliberately tune to a different frequency, the abundance channel, through your conscious choices of thought, feeling, and language. This vibrational alignment isn't some mystical process beyond your control. It's a practical skill you can develop through intentional practice. When you combine wealth affirmations with genuine positive emotion, you create a resonance that naturally attracts corresponding experiences. I've seen this principle transform not only my financial situation, but my entire approach to life. What makes this practice so impactful is the compound effect that occurs over time. Just as compound interest builds wealth exponentially in the financial world, compound mental focus builds manifestation power exponentially in your consciousness. The first week might feel like you're just saying empty words, But by week 4, you'll notice subtle shifts in how opportunities seem to find you, how your decision-making improves, and how your relationship with money becomes healthier. I remember working with someone who had been struggling financially for years. She committed to this practice wholeheartedly, repeating her personalized wealth affirmations morning and night without fail. Within 3 months, she received an unexpected promotion, found creative ways to reduce her debt, and even manifested a surprising inheritance from a distant relative she barely knew. Was this coincidence? Perhaps. But these coincidences tend to multiply when you maintain consistent vibrational alignment with abundance. The key insight here is that your current financial reality is simply a physical manifestation of your past dominant thoughts and emotions about money. Your future financial reality will likewise be determined by the thoughts and emotions you're cultivating right now. This understanding gives you tremendous power to consciously direct your financial destiny, rather than being at the mercy of external circumstances. As you continue working with these wealth affirmations, remember that authentic feeling is what supercharges them with manifestation power. It's not enough to mechanically repeat the words. You must infuse them with genuine emotion and belief. Imagine already having what you desire. Feel the freedom, security, and joy that comes with financial abundance. This emotional component is what bridges the gap between intellectual understanding and true vibrational alignment. If you're nodding along and feeling that inner recognition that we're discussing something profoundly true, write "alignment activated" in the comments below. Interestingly enough, what I found most transformative in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind was the realization that money isn't primarily the result of physical labor. It's a direct manifestation of our mental energy. This revelation completely shifted my perception of wealth creation. Think about it. How many people do you know who work incredibly hard physically but struggle financially? Meanwhile, others seem to attract abundance with far less visible effort. The wealthy understand something fundamental that most people miss. They've learn to direct their mental energy in ways that magnetize opportunities. It's almost like they've discovered the hidden operating system of success, while everyone else is stuck running outdated software. When Iker explains this principle, he's not suggesting wealthy people don't work hard. Rather, their efforts are channeled differently, more strategically. I remember walking through a busy shopping district after listening to this section, observing successful business owners. What became clear wasn't that they necessarily worked longer hours than their employees, but that they invested their mental energy into creating systems and opportunities that generated wealth, whether they were physically present or not. Their mental architecture was constructed differently. The journey toward financial abundance requires this profound mindset shift. Instead of exchanging time for dollars in a linear fashion, wealthy individuals create exponential returns through their thought patterns and decision-making frameworks. They're playing a completely different game, one where mental energy, properly directed, creates ripple effects that continue generating returns long after the initial investment of thought. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how this principle manifests in practical reality. The wealthy have mastered the art of molding their mental energy to attract opportunities that appear almost magical to outside observers. It's not about cosmic wishful thinking. It's about programming your mind to recognize patterns that others miss and taking decisive action when those opportunities present themselves. What fascinates me is how this ability to harness mental energy creates what looks like effortless success. Have you ever wondered why some entrepreneurs seem to have good fortune constantly falling into their laps? It's not luck. It's preparation meeting opportunity, with their mental framework doing most of the heavy lifting behind the scenes. This revelation challenged me to examine where I was investing my mental energy. Was I spending precious cognitive resources worrying about scarcity? Was I mentally rehearsing failure scenarios, or was I constructing mental pathways that would inevitably lead to abundance? The wealthy know that every thought is an investment, and they choose their mental positions with the same strategic care they apply to financial investments. The subtlety here is important. This isn't about magical thinking, but about recognition. When you train your mind to identify opportunities, they suddenly appear everywhere. It's similar to when you decide to buy a certain model of car, and suddenly you notice that same model all over the roads. They were always there, you just weren't tuned to perceive them. What strikes me as particularly powerful is how this principle compounds over time. As you begin directing your mental energy toward abundance and opportunity, you start making different decisions. Those decisions lead to experiences that reinforce your wealth mindset, creating an upward spiral of both consciousness and concrete results in your financial life. If something about this perspective resonates with you, I'd love to know. Type mental physical in the comments if you've experienced this shift in how you view wealth creation. Understanding that our mental energy shapes our financial destiny more than physical exertion is truly one of the hidden keys to transforming not just our bank accounts, but our entire relationship with abundance. These statistics genuinely shocked me too when I first discovered them. It's like we've been playing a game where nobody explained the actual rules. The true revelation here is that financial transformation isn't about your starting position, it's about your mental alignment with wealth principles. I've seen this firsthand with clients who came from absolutely nothing, who faced obstacles most would consider insurmountable, yet they managed to create abundance, while others with every advantage remained trapped in scarcity cycles. The difference wasn't external resources, it was their internal blueprint for wealth. The universe operates by distinct laws when it comes to prosperity, and these laws prioritize mindset over circumstance every single time. It's similar to how gravity doesn't care about your opinions on falling, it simply works according to established principles. Wealth creation follows parallel, immutable rules, and your acknowledgement of these rules doesn't change their existence or effectiveness. What fascinates me about this journey is how predictable the outcomes become once you understand the hidden mechanics at work. People who align their thinking with these wealth principles start experiencing what others might call lucky breaks or fortunate timing. But there's nothing mysterious happening. It's simply the natural result of operating in harmony with financial laws rather than against them. Think about how many times you've observed someone who seems to attract opportunity effortlessly. We often attribute this to connections, privilege, or just plain luck. But behind the scenes, these individuals have usually reconfigured their relationship with money at a fundamental level. They've recognized that wealth responds to certain thought patterns and behaviors with almost mathematical precision. The remarkable insight I've gained working with thousands of wealth-building journeys is that this internal shift happens before any external evidence appears. It's counterintuitive to everything we've been taught, that you must first have money to make money, that financial success relies primarily on circumstances beyond your control. These beliefs actually form the invisible barrier, keeping so many trapped in limitation. When you truly internalize that your financial reality begins in your mind, everything changes. You stop wasting energy fighting against economic headwinds, and instead, position your mental sails to capture them. You recognize opportunities invisible to others because you've tuned your perception to a different frequency, the frequency where wealth creation operates most naturally. This mental recalibration involves questioning deeply held assumptions about money that you may have carried since childhood. Many of us inherited beliefs about wealth that were formed during entirely different economic eras or under circumstances that no longer apply. Yet these Outdated perspectives continue shaping our financial decisions at an unconscious level. The breakthrough moment arrives when you realize that the universe doesn't randomly select winners and losers in financial life. It simply responds to how effectively you align with established principles of wealth creation. Just as a farmer can't argue with the seasons but must plant according to their rhythm, financial prosperity follows patterns that reward those who understand and work with them rather than against them. Now, I want to go even deeper into the specific mental shifts that trigger this alignment, because once you understand these key pivots in thinking, you'll start recognizing how they're already influencing your financial reality in ways you might never have noticed. The transformation begins with recognizing that your relationship with money tells a story, and you have the power to rewrite that narrative completely. If what I've shared resonates with your own experiences with money, type paradigm shift in the comments. I'd love to know who's tracking with these concepts that have transformed my own relationship with wealth. As we dive deeper into this decision-making process, I want to emphasize something that might seem mystical, but is actually grounded in observable patterns of success. When you make a decision with absolute clarity and unwavering resolve, not the half-hearted "I'll try" kind of decision, but the bone-deep "this is happening" kind, something remarkable occurs in the fabric of your reality. Think about the most successful people you know or have studied. Their path wasn't paved with hesitation or second-guessing. There's this moment of commitment that seems to trigger a cascade of alignment in their lives. It's as if the universe responds to that level of certainty by rearranging circumstances to support your journey. Doors begin to open. Resources appear. Mentors emerge from unexpected places. I've witnessed this phenomenon repeatedly in my own journey and in the transformations of others. When someone shifts from wishy-washy intentions to rock-solid commitment, the energy they project changes. Their posture shifts, their language transforms. Even their facial expressions communicate a different message to everyone they encounter. This isn't magical thinking. It's the hidden architecture of achievement. Your decision becomes a beacon that guides your perception, filtering opportunities that previously went unnoticed. The resolved mind sees pathways invisible to the doubtful observer. This is the revelation that separates dreamers from achievers. Now, this unwavering resolve must be paired with consistent action, the true engine of manifestation. Consistency might not make for exciting social media posts or dramatic stories, but it's the quiet force that builds mountains from grains of sand. The daily disciplines, when maintained over time, create results that appear almost miraculous to outside observers. I'm reminded of a sculptor I once knew who transformed massive blocks of marble into breathtaking figures. When asked about her process, she simply said, "I show up every day and chip away a little more." This methodical approach, this devotion to the craft, regardless of mood or circumstance, is what separates dilettantes from masters in any field. The impact of consistency compounds in ways that occasional bursts of effort never can. Think about water carving canyons through solid, a rock, not through force but through persistent, unwavering presence. Your consistent actions operate with the same natural power, reshaping landscapes that once seemed immovable. What makes this revelation particularly liberating is that consistent action doesn't require extraordinary talent or genius-level insight. It simply requires showing up day after day and honoring your commitment through tangible steps forward. The most ordinary person, armed with extraordinary consistency, will outperform the sporadic genius almost every time. I've observed this underlying truth across vastly different domains: fitness transformations, business growth, relationship development, artistic mastery. The hero's journey isn't about dramatic leaps, but about faithful steps taken in a clear direction, regardless of immediate results or external validation. When you combine unwavering resolve with consistent action, you create an unstoppable momentum. Your identity shifts from someone who wants something to someone who is actively becoming something. This mindset transition is perhaps the most profound aspect of the entire process. You're no longer chasing an outcome. You're embodying a way of being that naturally produces those outcomes. It's worth noting that this approach dissolves much of the anxiety around achievement. When your focus shifts to showing up consistently rather than obsessing over specific results, you enter a more peaceful relationship with your goals. Paradoxically, this relaxed concentration often accelerates your progress rather than hindering it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how these principles can be applied specifically to the obstacles most people encounter when implementing these ideas in their lives. Because understanding the concept is one thing, but navigating the real-world resistance that emerges is where the true mastery lies. If what I've shared resonates with your own experience or aspirations, type "committed" to consistency in the comments below. When we truly understand the subtle energies of wealth attraction, we begin to see how our inner world creates a template for our outer reality. This is where most abundance teachings miss the mark. They focus solely on external actions while neglecting the internal landscape that shapes everything. I've discovered through years of practice that financial abundance isn't something we chase, it's something we become. The frequency we operate at literally determines what we can receive. Think about this. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to attract opportunities effortlessly while others struggle despite working twice as hard? This isn't random chance. It's energetic alignment at work. The universe responds not to what we want, but to who we are. This is why two people can follow identical investment strategies with dramatically different results. One operates from a frequency of lack, secretly believing they don't deserve wealth, while the other vibrates with worthiness and receptivity. I remember working with a client who had spent decades accumulating impressive financial knowledge. She could analyze market trends better than most professionals, yet somehow remained stuck in a cycle of just getting by. During our work together, we uncovered a childhood memory where she'd overheard her father say, "People like us don't get rich." This single belief had created an energetic ceiling that no amount of external action could break. Once we cleared this frequency block, money began flowing to her through channels she hadn't even considered before. The transformation journey requires that we examine our relationship with money at the subconscious level. Most people are completely unaware of the hidden programming running beneath their conscious desires for wealth. You might affirm abundance daily while unknowingly broadcasting a frequency of scarcity. This misalignment creates the frustrating experience of taking all the right actions without seeing the desired results. Mental discipline becomes the cornerstone of an abundance mindset because it allows us to consistently redirect our thoughts toward abundance, regardless of current circumstances. This isn't about toxic positivity or denying reality. It's about maintaining energetic coherence, even when facing temporary setbacks. When you develop this level of discipline, you stop being emotionally hijacked by financial fluctuations. Instead, you recognize them as part of the natural ebb and flow of abundance. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the quantum physics of wealth manifestation. The observer effect in quantum mechanics tells us that particles behave differently when observed. Similarly, your conscious attention to abundance literally changes the probability field around you. This isn't mystical thinking. It's cutting-edge science that explains why intention combined with elevated emotion creates tangible results in your financial reality. The revelations that come from applying these principles consistently can be life-altering. Many in our community have shared profound shifts, not just in their bank accounts, but in their entire relationship with the concept of prosperity. They describe a feeling of coming home to their natural state of abundance, rather than struggling to attain something external. This homecoming journey is perhaps the most valuable aspect of the work we do. What fascinates me most is how this inner transformation creates ripple effects throughout all areas of life. When you source financial abundance from within, you naturally become more generous, creative, and purpose-driven. Money simply amplifies who you already are. This explains why some wealthy individuals become more selfish, while others use their resources to create positive impact. The difference lies in the consciousness from which the wealth emerged. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is a moment of surrender, letting go of the how and trusting in the intelligence of the universe to deliver abundance through the path of least resistance. This surrender isn't passive. It's an active allowing that keeps you open to unexpected opportunities that your limited mind couldn't have conceived. If you're resonating with these deeper truths about abundance, write "Abundance flows through me" in the comments below. This simple declaration can serve as a powerful reset for your financial frequency. There's a transformative power hidden within gratitude that many overlook on their wealth journey. When I first explored the relationship between gratitude and financial abundance, I was skeptical. It seemed too simple, almost naive. But here's what I discovered. Gratitude fundamentally alters your vibrational frequency. It's not just positive thinking, it's a complete energetic shift that realigns how you interact with money and opportunity. Think about what happens when you're genuinely grateful for the wealth you already have, regardless of how modest it might seem to others. Your focus naturally shifts from scarcity to abundance. This perspective change isn't just psychological, it manifests in practical ways. When you operate from gratitude, you make decisions differently. You spot opportunities that previously remained invisible because your attention was consumed by what you lacked rather than what you possessed. I've witnessed this remarkable transformation in countless clients. One woman I worked with had been stuck in a cycle of financial struggle for years, despite having considerable skills and education. We began a daily gratitude practice focused specifically on financial blessings, even the smallest ones. Within months, her income didn't just incrementally improve, it tripled. The connections, clients, and opportunities that suddenly appeared had actually been there all along. Her gratitude practice had simply adjusted her receptivity to recognize them. But there's an even deeper revelation here about the relationship between internal and external abundance. Many people have the equation backward. They believe once they achieve external wealth, they'll finally feel abundant inside. This waiting game keeps them perpetually unfulfilled. The hidden truth is that sustainable wealth creation happens when you lead with an internal sense of abundance first, regardless of external circumstances. This internal abundance isn't wishful thinking. It's a deliberate mindset that says, "I am enough, I have enough, and from this place of sufficiency I can create more." When you cultivate this inner stance, you stop approaching opportunities from desperation or neediness. You bring a completely different energy to negotiations, investments, and business dealings. I remember working with a brilliant entrepreneur who struggled to close high-value clients despite exceptional service offerings. In our sessions, we discovered he was entering every sales conversation with an underlying energy of, "I need this deal." This subtle desperation was perceptible to potential clients and undermined his value. Once he established an internal foundation of abundance, recognizing his worth independent of any single client's decision, his closing rate increased dramatically. Nothing about his service had changed, only his internal relationship with abundance. This reveals a profound paradox on the wealth-building path. The less you need external validation of your worth, the more likely you are to receive external abundance. When you show up with a genuine sense that you're already whole, complete, and abundant, you become magnetic to similar energy. People sense this authentic confidence and naturally want to connect with it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this internal abundance stance affects not just your personal wealth, but your capacity to serve others. Because true wealth creation is never just about accumulating resources for yourself. It's about expanding your capacity to create value in increasingly meaningful ways. The journey toward this internal abundance isn't always straightforward. It requires honest self-examination about where you might be placing your sense of worth in external measurements. Are you defining your success through comparison with others? Are you allowing your financial status to determine your sense of personal value? These hidden patterns can silently sabotage your wealth-creating potential. If any of this resonates with your experience, write in the comments. I'm choosing internal abundance first. I'd love to hear about your personal journey with this powerful shift in perspective. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. Success isn't at the summit. It's in developing the strength and skill to climb consistently. That's what Bob Proctor emphasizes about financial achievement. It's not a one-time event, but rather a daily mental practice, where visualization becomes as routine as breathing. What you think about with emotion becomes your reality, Bob would often say, and he's not speaking in abstract terms. The audiobook provides remarkably practical examples of how successful individuals created mental movies of their desired outcomes long before physical evidence appeared. They didn't just passively hope. They actively experienced their future success through focused imagination. One particularly fascinating revelation is how our subconscious mind cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and actual physical experiences. When you consistently visualize financial abundance with genuine emotion, your nervous system begins responding as if that reality already exists. This creates what Bob calls an emotional congruence, where your feelings align with your desired future rather than your current circumstances. This approach fundamentally transforms how we understand manifestation. It's not magical thinking, it's strategic mental conditioning. The mind naturally moves toward what it focuses on with emotional intensity. By deliberately directing this natural tendency, we're essentially reprogramming our internal guidance system. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how this same principle applies to life's inevitable challenges. The audiobook presents a revolutionary framework for converting adversities into catapults for growth. Bob refers to this as opportunity. Mining, the ability to extract value from seemingly negative circumstances. Consider this paradigm shift. What if every problem contained the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit? The audiobook illustrates this through numerous case studies. People who faced bankruptcy only to discover business models that generated 10 times their previous income. Health challenges that led to lifestyle transformations, creating unprecedented vitality. Relationship breakdowns that cleared space for profound connections. The hidden truth here isn't that problems magically transform into benefits. Rather, our perception and response to challenges determine whether they become stepping stones or stumbling blocks. The audiobook provides specific cognitive techniques to reshape our relationship with adversity, tools for immediately identifying growth potential within any obstacle. One particularly powerful revelation involves understanding the relationship between comfort and expansion. Growth never happens within comfort zones. It requires the pressure and resistance of challenges. Just as diamonds form under pressure, our greatest capabilities emerge when we're tested. The audiobook teaches a systematic approach to leveraging this natural law rather than fighting against it. What makes this journey of transformation so impactful is that it's not about positive thinking as a superficial overlay. It's about developing genuine resilience, the ability to maintain emotional stability regardless of external circumstances. This stability becomes the foundation from which authentic solutions emerge. The audiobook draws fascinating parallels between financial success and adversity navigation, showing how both require similar mental muscles. The same visualization techniques that magnetize opportunity also help transform challenges. Both demand emotional mastery, the ability to choose empowering feelings despite apparent evidence to the contrary. As you reflect on these concepts, consider where in your life you might be resisting challenges that could potentially become your greatest assets. The mind's tendency toward comfort often blinds us to hidden opportunities disguised as problems. Type "mining for gold" in the comments if you've ever discovered unexpected benefits within a significant challenge. I'm genuinely curious about your experiences with this principle. When we look deeper at the transformations that lead to financial success, we're truly witnessing the power of decision-making in action. This isn't just about choosing to invest or save money, it's about making fundamental shifts in how we perceive ourselves and our relationship with wealth. Every single person who's created substantial prosperity first made an internal decision that preceded their external results. What's fascinating about this journey is how our minds create our realities through these decisions. Think about it. Before a dollar ever finds its way to your bank account, a thought that permitted that dollar to come to you had to exist first. This is the hidden truth behind wealth creation that most financial education completely overlooks. I've had conversations with people who've gone from financial struggle to abundance, and the turning point was rarely a lucky break or inheritance. Instead, it was a moment of clarity, what we might call a wealth revelation, when they decided their relationship with money would permanently change. The impact of such a decision ripples through every subsequent action they take. The untapped power of your mind is truly extraordinary in this context. The same brain that might be filled with limiting beliefs about money is equally capable of generating expansive ideas that attract prosperity. When you understand this duality, you begin to approach wealth creation not as something external to pursue, but as an internal landscape to cultivate. Behind the scenes of every financial success story is this profound mindset shift. People who consistently create wealth don't just think differently about money, they think differently about themselves in relation to money. They see themselves as worthy of abundance, capable of generating value, and deserving of the rewards that come from that value creation. What's particularly interesting is how this inner transformation affects your everyday decisions. When your fundamental relationship with wealth changes, you naturally start recognizing opportunities that were always present, but previously invisible to you. It's not that the world suddenly becomes more generous, it's that your perception expands to see what was already there. This is why two people can look at the same circumstance and see completely different possibilities. One person sees obstacles, while another sees stepping stones. The difference isn't in their external reality, but in their internal wiring, the decisions they've made about what they believe is possible for them. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how these inner decisions create practical pathways to wealth. The journey from inner conviction to outer results follows specific patterns that, once recognized, can be intentionally cultivated. Rather than leaving your financial destiny to chance, you can deliberately align your thoughts, decisions, and actions in ways that naturally generate prosperity. When you understand that wealth begins as a thought, before it materializes as reality, you gain tremendous leverage over your financial future. Instead of being at the mercy of external circumstances, you become the architect of your prosperity through the power of decisive thought followed by aligned action. If you're nodding along as I explain this connection between inner growth and outer achievement, put in the comments, "My decisions shape my wealth." This acknowledgement alone, recognizing your role in creating your financial reality, is often the first step toward transforming it. Just imagine the human mind as a vibrating energy center, constantly emitting frequencies into the universe. This concept isn't just philosophical, it's rooted in quantum physics. Each thought pattern you cultivate creates a specific frequency, and like a magnet, these frequencies attract corresponding experiences and opportunities. The wealthy mind operates at a distinct frequency that naturally draws abundance toward it. What's fascinating is how this perspective transforms our understanding of wealth creation. When you consistently hold images of prosperity in your consciousness, you're actually tuning your mental frequency to match the vibration of abundance. The wealthy aren't necessarily smarter or more talented. They've simply mastered the art of maintaining a prosperity consciousness that resonates with wealth. The journey toward financial freedom requires more than just positive thinking, though. It demands a complete rewiring of your mental landscape. Think about it. Every great invention, every business empire, every financial breakthrough began as nothing more than a thought in someone's mind. Edison first envisioned the light bulb before creating it. Jobs imagined the iPhone years before it materialized. The physical world we experience is merely a projection of collective thought energy. This mental to physical creation process follows a predictable pattern. First comes the thought, then the emotional attachment to that thought, followed by the inspired action, and finally the physical manifestation. Most people struggle financially because they're stuck in patterns of lack-based thinking, constantly worrying about bills and debts, unknowingly attracting more of the same circumstances. The secret to breaking this cycle lies in understanding that wealth consciousness precedes material wealth, not the other way around. Many make the mistake of thinking, "Once I have money, then I'll feel abundant." But this reverses the creative sequence. The wealthy mind thinks, "I am abundant now, and therefore money flows to me easily." Behind the scenes of every financial transformation is this fundamental shift in consciousness. What makes this revelation so powerful is that it places the control back in your hands. Your financial destiny isn't determined by external factors, but by the quality and frequency of your thoughts. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how our subconscious programming affects our wealth capacity. Most people are unaware that their relationship with money was largely formed before the age of 7. During these formative years, we absorb beliefs about wealth from our parents, culture, and environment, without any critical filtering. These deep-seated beliefs now operate as invisible scripts running in the background of our financial decisions. The audiobook meticulously breaks down the process of identifying and replacing these limiting beliefs. It reveals how even well-intentioned parental phrases like "money doesn't grow on trees" or "rich people are greedy" create subconscious barriers to abundance. This explains why so many hard-working, intelligent people remain financially stuck despite their best efforts. What's truly revolutionary about this approach is how it connects our inner world with our outer results. Traditional financial advice focuses almost exclusively on external strategies: budgeting, investing, saving. While these tactics have their place, they're like trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation of sand if your subconscious mind is programmed for scarcity. The wealth transformation begins with awareness. By becoming conscious of our unconscious financial programming, we gain the power to rewrite it. This internal shift creates ripple effects across all aspects of life, not just your bank account. People who master this process report experiencing greater clarity, confidence, and creativity in their professional endeavors. If what I'm sharing resonates with your experience of trying to build wealth, type mental reprogramming in the comments below. I'd love to know how many of you recognize the connection between your thought patterns and your financial reality. Moving beyond visualization techniques, let's address a critical element that separates those who successfully manifest wealth from those who struggle: clarity. When I speak with people about their financial goals, I often hear vague aspirations like, "I want to be rich," or "I want financial freedom." But what does that actually mean? Without specific details, your subconscious mind has nothing concrete to work toward. Think of your mind as a sophisticated navigation system. If you input a vague destination like "somewhere nice," you'll never arrive. But when you specify 1234 Prosperity Lane, the route becomes clear. This precision is exactly what your financial visualizations require. I've worked with clients who transformed their financial situation dramatically once they defined exactly what their ideal financial life looked like. One particular client, Michael, spent years visualizing wealth without results. When we worked together to define that wealth meant $12,000 monthly passive income, a specific investment portfolio structure, and ownership of 2 particular properties, his energy shifted. Within 18 months, he had achieved 80% of these specific targets. The revelation here is profound. Vague desires produce vague results. Detailed visions create detailed outcomes. Your subconscious mind thrives on specificity, using it as a blueprint to recognize and seize opportunities that align with your vision. This connects directly to another misconception I see frequently: the belief that financial freedom comes primarily from working harder. The hidden truth is that most wealthy individuals aren't necessarily working more hours. They've mastered mental discipline in a way that transforms how they approach money entirely. Consider the journey of wealth creation as a mental marathon rather than a physical sprint. While hustle culture glorifies exhaustion and sacrifice, sustainable wealth emerges from a disciplined mindset that recognizes and capitalizes on leverage points. This mindset transformation changes how you perceive opportunities, manage resources, and make decisions. I've observed this pattern repeatedly. Those who achieve lasting financial abundance have usually undergone an internal shift before their external circumstances changed. They develop patience, strategic thinking, and emotional resilience around money matters. They learn to delay gratification, invest rather than spend, and recognize value where others see only cost. What's fascinating about this approach is how it impacts all areas of life. Once you develop this mental discipline around finances, you'll notice the same principles working in your relationships, health, and personal growth. Everything becomes more intentional, more strategic, and ultimately more rewarding. The conventional narrative about wealth creation focuses almost exclusively on external actions: work harder, save more, invest wisely. While these actions matter, they represent only the visible portion of the iceberg. Beneath the surface lies the mental framework that determines how effectively you'll execute these actions and whether you'll sustain them long enough to see results. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how these principles of clarity and mental discipline can be applied in practical, everyday situations to generate consistent financial growth. The framework I'm about to share has helped countless individuals transform their relationship with money and create sustainable abundance. If what I've shared resonates with your own experiences with wealth creation, write "Clarity creates reality" in the comments below. When we talk about creating real wealth, there's a fascinating psychological phenomenon at play. Your mind actually struggles to distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. This means that persistent focus on your envisioned future doesn't just motivate you, it literally rewires your brain to recognize opportunities that align with that vision. Think about it. The wealthy person you aspire to become would notice different things in the same environment than the person you are today. This isn't just positive thinking, it's strategic neural programming. When you consistently hold your desired financial future in your mind, you're essentially creating new neural pathways that filter reality differently. The transformation begins long before the tangible results appear. I've seen this countless times with successful entrepreneurs who seem to have an almost uncanny ability to spot opportunities that others missed. They weren't necessarily smarter. They had simply programmed their reticular activating system, the part of your brain that decides what deserves your conscious attention, to align with their wealth vision. Now let's address the profound disconnect that keeps so many people financially stuck. There's often a massive gap between how people conceptualize themselves and their daily actions. You might intellectually believe you're destined for financial abundance, but if your daily habits involve impulsive spending, avoiding financial education, or working without strategic purpose, you're creating internal conflict rather than momentum. This alignment between self-conception and daily action is what I call identity-based wealth building. Instead of just focusing on specific tactics or strategies, you're fundamentally shifting who you are in relation to money. When someone asks you about your financial habits, your answers should naturally reflect someone who respects and understands money rather than fears or avoids it. What's particularly powerful about this approach is how it creates a sense of inevitability about your financial growth. Rather than wealth feeling like some distant, unlikely possibility, it begins to feel like your natural trajectory. This psychological shift is often the hidden difference between those who achieve lasting financial success and those who experience temporary improvements before sliding back. The journey requires honest self-assessment. Are your daily financial decisions made by the wealthy version of yourself you're developing or by past programming that no longer serves you? Each choice either reinforces your new wealth identity or contradicts it. There's a profound ripple effect to this kind of intentional alignment. Your relationship with money becomes more intuitive, less emotional, and increasingly strategic. This identity transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's cultivated through consistent practices that may initially feel uncomfortable or foreign. You might feel like you're faking it at first, and that's completely normal. What matters is your commitment to embodying the financial mindset you're developing even when no one is watching. These private victories eventually become public results. When you fully align your self-conception with your daily actions around money, you create a powerful priming effect. You're essentially preparing your entire system, conscious and subconscious, to receive, manage, and grow wealth naturally. This isn't about pretending to be something you're not. It's about intentionally becoming the person who naturally achieves what you desire. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this alignment actually manifests in the practical decisions that shape your financial future. The truth is, wealth creation follows predictable patterns, but they often remain invisible until you've shifted your perspective. If what I've shared resonates with your own financial journey so far, write in the comments, "My identity shapes my wealth." I'd love to know who's connecting with these deeper principles of financial transformation. An untrained mind is the architect of your personal defeat. Think about this. Everything you've accomplished, everything you've failed at, it all began with the quality of your thinking. The mind is like a garden. Left untended, weeds of doubt, distraction, and limitation naturally take over. Most people walk through life with this untended garden, wondering why opportunities seem to bypass them while flowing freely to others. What's the hidden truth here? Your mind requires deliberate cultivation. When I first began my journey of transformation, I realized I had been allowing my thoughts to run wild, jumping between worries about the future, regrets about the past, and creating worst-case scenarios that never materialized. The revelation came when I understood that this mental chaos wasn't just harmless background noise, it was actively creating my reality. The process of training your mind isn't complicated, but it demands consistency. Start with 5 minutes of focused breathing each morning. When thoughts arise, as they inevitably will, simply acknowledge them without judgment and return to your breath. This simple practice builds the mental muscle that allows you to direct your thoughts rather than being dragged along by them. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the profound power of visualization. When you visualize your objectives with precision and palpable emotion, you're essentially conducting a dress rehearsal for success. This isn't mere positive thinking. It's a deliberate process of neural programming. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones, which means proper visualization creates neural pathways identical to those formed during actual experience. The key lies in the sensory richness of your visualization. Most people approach visualization like watching a blurry, distant movie of themselves. This creates minimal impact. Instead, step fully into the first-person experience. If you're visualizing career success, don't just see yourself in a corner office. Feel the smooth texture of the desk beneath your fingertips. Hear the sound of colleagues respectfully seeking your input. Notice the subtle confidence in your voice as you speak. The emotional component acts as the catalyst that brings this practice to life. Your brain's reticular activating system, the filtering mechanism that determines what information reaches your conscious awareness, responds powerfully to emotion. When you inject genuine feeling into your visualizations, you're essentially telling this system, "This matters. Pay attention to anything that might help make this real." This practice isn't about escaping reality. It's about preparing yourself to recognize and seize opportunities aligned with your vision. I've witnessed remarkable shifts in people's circumstances after they committed to visualization with emotional intensity. Opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere, but the truth is, these opportunities were likely always present. They simply became visible because the mind was primed to notice them. The journey of mental mastery isn't linear. You'll experience days of clarity followed by periods of mental fog. This fluctuation is normal and part of the growth process. What matters is your commitment to returning to these practices, especially when they seem most difficult. The moments of greatest resistance often precede the most significant breakthroughs. If what I've shared resonates with your experience or sparks something within you, write in the comments. My mind creates my reality. I'm curious to hear how these principles have manifested in your own life journey. And that's why the technique of morning visualizations has become such a cornerstone of my daily practice. When I first heard about it, I was skeptical too. Another self-help ritual that sounds good but doesn't deliver results? But I've discovered there's profound neuroscience behind this approach. Those first 30 minutes after waking, your brain operates in a theta wave state, making it exceptionally receptive to new programming. It's like your neural pathways are soft clay, ready to be shaped before hardening for the day ahead. What I do is simple yet transformative. Before checking emails or scrolling through social media, I sit quietly and vividly imagine achieving my most important goals. I don't just see them, I feel them. I experience the emotions of accomplishment, the sense of pride, the specific details of what success looks like. This isn't magical thinking. It's strategic mental preparation that literally rewires your brain to recognize opportunities throughout your day. The most successful people I've studied all share this habit of intentional visualization. They understand that the unconscious mind doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual one. When you consistently visualize success, your brain creates neural pathways that make that success feel familiar, expected, even inevitable. It's like installing a success operating system that runs in the background of your consciousness. But here's where many people get stuck, and I've been caught in this trap myself. The paralyzing fear of failure, that voice that whispers, "What if it doesn't work?" or "Who am I to think I can achieve this?" This fear keeps us in a perpetual state of indecision, which is actually worse than making the wrong decision. At least with a wrong decision, you get feedback and can course correct. With indecision, you remain stuck in the same place, watching opportunities pass by. The hidden truth I've discovered on this journey is that most successful people aren't necessarily smarter or more talented. They've just developed a higher tolerance for discomfort and uncertainty. They've trained themselves to act despite their fears. They understand that courage isn't the absence of fear, but rather moving forward despite it. What's fascinating is how this mindset shift creates a ripple effect in every area of life. When you begin taking decisive action and visualizing success, your entire perception transforms. You start noticing opportunities that were always there, but invisible to you before. Your energy shifts, which affects how others respond to you. This isn't mystical. It's a practical psychological phenomenon that creates real-world results. The most profound revelation came when I realized that indecision itself is a decision. It's choosing to remain in your comfort zone rather than stepping into growth. Every moment we hesitate, we're actively choosing the status quo. And while that feels safe, it's actually the riskiest position of all in a world that's constantly changing. Now, I want to go even deeper into how these principles apply specifically to wealth creation, because there's a particular mental framework that wealthy individuals adopt that goes beyond simple positive thinking. It's about understanding the underlying systems and patterns that govern financial success and how your internal visualizations need to align with external economic realities. If anything I've shared resonates with your own experience, drop "morning clarity" in the comments. I'd love to know who else has discovered the power of those first minutes of consciousness each day. This principle of decisive decision-making really represents the culmination of everything we've been exploring. When I first encountered this concept in the book, it struck me as deceptively simple, yet profoundly powerful. Think about it. How many opportunities have slipped through our fingers simply because we hesitated too long at the crossroads of decision? The author makes a compelling case that wealth creation isn't just about knowing what to do. It's about making firm decisions and then aligning every subsequent action with those decisions. This alignment creates a powerful momentum that pushes you forward even when challenges arise. I've witnessed this transformation in my own journey. When I finally truly decided, to take control of my financial future, the universe seemed to conspire to help me. Doors began opening that I hadn't even known existed. What makes this principle particularly potent is its emphasis on welcoming change rather than resisting it. The marketplace is constantly evolving, and those who rigidly cling to outdated methodologies eventually find themselves left behind. The wealthy mindset embraces change as the seedbed of opportunity rather than viewing it as a threat to stability. There's a hidden truth here that many miss. Decisive action creates clarity. When you're standing still, weighing options endlessly, everything remains foggy. But once you commit to a direction and begin moving, the path forward becomes increasingly clear. It's like driving at night. Your headlights only illuminate the next 100 feet, but as you drive, more of the road is continuously revealed. Behind the scenes of every success story lies this fundamental principle. Take any wealthy individual you admire, trace back their journey, and you'll inevitably find pivotal moments where they made decisive choices when others wavered. These weren't always perfect decisions, but the commitment to those decisions created the momentum that carried them forward. The final revelation from the audiobook delivers a powerful reminder that resonates deeply with me. The author emphasizes that wealth creation isn't something external that happens to you. It's something that emerges from within as you consistently implement these principles. The power has always been there, dormant perhaps, but waiting to be activated through your disciplined application of these fundamental laws. This internal locus of control represents a paradigm shift for many. Rather than waiting for external circumstances to align perfectly, the wealthy focus on developing themselves into the kind of people who naturally attract abundance. They understand that the journey to financial freedom is first and foremost a personal evolution, a becoming rather than an acquiring. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how these principles operate in concert with one another. The true magic happens not when you implement these ideas in isolation, but when you create a synergistic system where each principle reinforces and amplifies the others. This creates an upward spiral that can dramatically accelerate your progress toward financial independence. If what I've shared about decisive action creating clarity resonates with your own experiences or aspirations, type "Clarity comes through action" in the comments below. You know, after exploring all these principles together, I think there's something really special about this journey we've been on. I've shared these insights not just because they transformed my understanding of wealth creation, but because I genuinely believe they could do the same for you. The beautiful thing about these principles is that they're already within your reach. You don't need special connections or extraordinary circumstances, just the willingness to apply what you've learned consistently and with purpose. If you've made it to this point in our conversation, I'd love to hear from you. Drop "Clarity comes through action" in the comments if these ideas about decisive decision-making struck a chord with you, and if you found value in today's exploration, hitting that like button lets me know these conversations are worth continuing. I'm constantly amazed by how this community grows through our shared journey toward financial wisdom. I've prepared another video that dives into how these wealth principles translate into practical daily habits. Click through when you're ready, and let's continue this conversation over there.